All right, buckle up, because today we are diving headfirst into the world of witness protection.
But this isn't going to be like those Hollywood movies you've seen.
We're ditching the car chases and explosions.
This is about the real people.
The ones living every day with new identities, always looking over their shoulder.
The ones who had to say goodbye to their old lives in an instant.
And we're doing it through a unique lens this time.
A first-hand account, almost like diary entries strung together.
Raw, unfiltered, and trust me, it gets intense.
We're talking about the nitty-gritty of what it takes to vanish.
The emotional toll, the constant fear.
It makes you question if you could ever really leave your old life behind.
Could you really just become someone else overnight?
Well, that's what we're going to find out.
Let me introduce you to Jason.
18 years old, fresh out of high school, working at this little coffee shop called Recharged.
Normal kid, just trying to figure things out.
Yeah, he's got his best friend Jay. They hang out, cause little mischief. Pretty typical teenage stuff.
But there's this one detail, it almost seems insignificant at first.
Jason's boss.
Frank Ritchie.
He's like the cool uncle, always looking out for him.
Jason really trusts this guy, which makes what happens later even more jarring.
And then there are these other characters, regulars at the coffee shop that Jason mentions.
Tammy, a woman in her 50s, always complaining about the wifey.
And this businessman, constantly glued to his phone, ordering a dozen coffees at a time.
These seem like totally random details, right?
Just everyday life stuff.
But let me tell you, they come back in a big way.
Because this is where things take a turn.
Enter the suited man.
Oh yeah, this guy just screams trouble.
Walks into the coffee shop like he owns the place, heads straight for Frank's office.
Now, Jason, being the curious type, can't help but eavesdrop.
What he hears, well, let's just say it piques his interest.
He's convinced something shady's going down.
But remember, he's young,
A little naive.
thinks he's got it all figured out.
So naturally, what does he do?
He pushes further, sneaks back into the shop after closing time using his key.
Confronts the suited man.
Talk about ballsy.
Or maybe just plain stupid.
Either way, this is where Jason's world implodes.
Turns out, that suited man connected to Frank's family business.
And that family business?
It involves pinstripe suits
Shady deals.
and maybe a few concrete shoes at the bottom of the river.
Mob.
Jason stumbled headfirst into the mafia.
All because he thought he was doing the right thing.
Talk about good intentions backfiring.
And it doesn't stop there.
Because of Jason's actions, his entire family is now caught in the crosshairs,
Suddenly, they're packing their bags.
saying goodbye to everything they've ever known.
Their lives as they knew it. Over.
All because of one impulsive decision.
One coffee shop confrontation gone wrong.
And this is just the beginning.
So Jason and his family, they're whisked away, given new identities.
Gone, just like that.
He ends up in New Braunfels, Texas, right?
Yep. Becomes Bradley Andelman, working at a grocery store. Can you imagine that?
Trying to blend in, act like everything's normal when your whole world just got flipped upside down.
It's like trying to fit into a skin that's not your own.
And every day, that fear, that constant looking over your shoulder.
Because the people hunting you, they don't play by the rules.
It's a terrifying thought.
In his diary entries, you can almost feel the isolation closing in on him.
He does make a friend though, right?
Yeah, Benjamin, a coworker. But even that friendship is strained.
Because how do you let someone in when you can't even tell them your real name?
You're carrying this huge secret, this weight on your shoulders.
And then there's the pain of separation.
He gets these letters from his family, but they're heavily censored.
The government, they're so worried about information slipping out.
They redact anything that could possibly give away their location.
It's heartbreaking.
Imagine getting a letter from your little sister, but half of it is blacked out.
You can't even share what you're going through, the fear, the uncertainty.
You're completely alone with it.
It's no wonder he starts to crack.
He has this outburst with Benjamin, almost tells him everything.
Just that desperate need to unburden himself, to have someone, anyone really know him.
But he pulls back at the last minute. He knows the risks are too high.
But the damage is done, at least for
He
Jason.
can't take it anymore. The pressure, the lies, the distance from his family.
So he makes a run for it.
Disappears one night, leaving everything behind.
Goes back home, hoping to find some sense of normalcy, some connection to his old life.
But it backfires spectacularly.
His family, they're gone too.
Moved to another safe house, no forwarding address.
Talk about a punch in the gut.
He's lost everything. His family, his home, his identity.
And of course, the marshals, they catch up with him.
He's shipped off again, new identity, new city.
This time, Reno, Nevada.
Becomes Jonathan Bianchi, tries to build a life again.
But something's different about him now.
He's not the same naive kid who confronted a mobster in a coffee shop.
He's seen the dark side of witness protection, the isolation, the despair.
He's starting to realize that this is his life now.
So there's Jason, holed up in this tiny apartment in Oregon,
Trying to blend in, be Ian.
and then, bam, his whole family walks in.
Orchestrated by Jay, of course.
Always the wild card.
But you can't deny it's a testament to his loyalty.
Yeah, the guy's determined.
So they have this precious time together,
Stolen moments, really.
trying to cram years of missed hugs and laughter into a few short days.
But there's always that shadow hanging over them.
The fear of exposure, the knowledge that this can't last.
And you can see the toll it takes on Jason.
The guilt, the weight of knowing he dragged them into this mess.
Especially his little sister.
Leighton. She's older now, but still.
He's her big brother. He's supposed to protect her, not bring danger to her doorstep.
There's this conversation they have. It's gut-wrenching.
She tries to be brave, tells him it's not his fault.
But you can tell she's scared. They all are.
And then, just as quickly as it began, it's over.
The Marshalls, they get wind of the reunion.
Another frantic goodbye.
More whispered promises, more tears.
This time Jason's shipped off to parts unknown.
Becomes Kyle Charlie. Another fresh start, another attempt at a normal life.
But something's different this time.
There's a sense of resignation in his words.
Like he's finally accepted the truth.
This is his life now. Always on the run, always looking over his shoulder.
Always someone else.
And maybe, just maybe, there's a strange kind of peace in that.
He's done fighting it.
He's letting go of the what-ifs, the could-have-beens.
Embracing the uncertainty.
Because that's all he has left.
So Jason's story ends there.
Open-ended, unresolved.
Just like witness protection itself.
We don't know where he is, what he's doing.
If he found any kind of happiness.
But his story, it stays with you.
Makes you think about the sacrifices people make, the choices they're forced into.
The true cost of safety.
It's a sobering thought.
And it makes you wonder, what would you do?
If you were in Jason's shoes, could you handle it?
Could you leave everything behind, everyone you love?
Could you become someone else, just to stay alive?
That's something to think about.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring the shadows.